talk to you about bar chords primarily today. So you probably know most of these chords I just played. That's the A. It's a 5-string version. You're only strumming from the 5th string down. You don't sound the 6th string. Yeah, but you probably know that with a D, you're only strumming from the 4th string, the D string down. And the C, it's a 5-string version. You're playing from that C note there on the A string. Or you can play the 6-string version where you add the G in the bass. And then talk about a G, you've got the 3-finger version, like it used to be in the 70s and the 60s. The modern version is now where you depress the 3rd fret on the B and E string. And the open E. And then the dreaded F chord, and then also you got the dreaded, we're moving into bar chord territory, the B. The chord probably most avoided besides F by beginners. Now, I want to discuss bar chords because I'm assuming you know most of those chords, and I started by playing a G5, but I'll place that finger there ready for a G major 7 because that's F sharp, which is a note below G, which makes it a 7th. But you'll learn about that when you know your intervals. Okay, let's talk about bar chords. So you probably, if you play an F chord, you're effectively playing a bar chord. But let's look at the E first, because from E you go to F, right? In a musical scale. I think you might know that. C, D, E, F, G. E, F. So there's an E chord, the way you know it, and you're playing it like that. Now imagine this nut here as being imaginary in the case of an E chord. That's the imaginary nut. It's below that nut there. You see? I'm just placing that finger there. If I move up from E to F, that half step, as it's situated on a fretboard, that's an E-shaped bar chord of F. Then you got F sharp or G flat, because F and G on the E string. So I'm going F, F sharp, G, A flat or G sharp. When I'm going up, the tradition is that you say G sharp. If you're coming backwards, you're going A flat. Does that make sense? A sharp or B flat. B to C. Now from B to C there is no sharp and flat, and from E to F there is no sharp and flat. It's from E to F, and from B to C, and from C to B, and from F to E. Okay. Now you know those basics at least. You know about this imaginary bar. Bar chords are transportable right up the fret. If you've got a 22 fret electric guitar, you can go up as high as your hand will allow you. You can play that bar chord up. That's an E-shaped bar chord. You've then got the E minor chord. I'm going to play it like that for now. You play it like that, right? Your imaginary bar. Can you see? You can take it right up the neck and you just go up the musical scale. E, F, F sharp, G. If I'm going backwards, G, F sharp, E. But it's minor because that middle finger there represents on that G string, when you represents the major 3rd interval, and when you lift it, it represents the minor 3rd interval. Now that's important theory because you know that major 3rd to minor 3rd makes a chord minor. When you reduce the major 3rd interval to minor 3rd, okay? If you're not into intervals, just lift that finger and you got a minor. Okay, so now you know an E-shaped bar chord, you know it in its major form. Then you got your A in the cowboy style. Once again, do an imaginary bar here beyond the nut. There's my B flat. There's my B chord. Or I can play it like that, where I'm barring the D, G and B strings. Okay? C, sharp, D, D sharp, E, E flat, D. Those are A-shaped bar chords. So we've got A, we know that B is played as a bar chord. C is played like that. We could technically argue, if we had enough fingers, so I'm going to play it like that, that there's an imaginary bar there. Therefore, C sharp, D. Now that can be quite a popular chord, but I'm playing the six-string version of D. What's very popular is to play a D chord as a 4-string version, but with F sharp. That note, just trust me, is an F sharp, because from there to there is an octave. So you know that's F sharp at the 2nd fret on the E string. I'm telling you that that's also F sharp, and you're playing your D chord like that. Does that make sense? It's a 4-string bar chord. I'm only strumming from the D string, or I can do the 6-string version. Now that particular chord's used by John Frusciante quite a bit. Under the bridge, okay? That's a 6-string version of a D chord. But I'm putting my bar in place. That's also a D note, you see. And you can take it right up the fretboard. So we've done an A, we've done an E. A D minor chord might be interesting to examine. We're going to play it like that now. Now, technically, that's an E flat. That's a 6-string version of an E minor. But it's probably not that popular to play it like that. You might find some guitarists doing it like that. And that's an E with a root beat on that B string. Excuse me, yep. And then that would be a G minor. Now let's just get back to an open cowboy D chord. D, we've got a tuning issue. Sorry about that. It's this humidity. So there we go. D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You can take these chords, especially that particular one. So you can do that same thing with A. A, B, C, D, E. Just strumming those middle 3 strings. It's called a triad. It's still a chord. But back to bar chords. We've done E, A, we've done D. I've shown you the C. Now G, imaginary bars out there. Not too many people would play it like that, but that's an A chord. There's your G shape, but you're placing your bar there. You can play it like that if you want to. So we've gone A, B is a bar chord, C, D, E, F is a bar chord. And you know that you can take the 5-string version of F chord, which is really an E with a bar down there. F, F sharp, G. So you can play it like that. If your hand gets tired like that, just play the 5-string version. Very common, okay? Does that make sense? You can take it right up the neck as far as your hand can go. Up and down. Okay, so that's bar chords. So we've covered all the shapes now. I just want to show you this, the D chord. In the 6-string version. Let me just go back to C. Now I'm going to raise the hypothesis whether a D chord actually exists in reality. Do you follow what I'm saying there? because you get exactly the same shape. C and D. But let me not confuse you too much. This is the interesting observation that I find interesting. Maybe I'm being too technical about it. Now, while we're on, that's bar chords. Now, you will find a burning sensation in your forearm for potentially a few weeks, and you find that your hand, I think, when I was 14, when I learned to play the guitar, geez, I remember that used to ache in my forearm, and that's how it used to. That's how you want to just depress those strings lightly and don't grip it. Just relax. And if your hand gets tired, go like that, or walk away and come back to it later. But do it often during the day when you need to build up that strength to get that F. And every chord that you play, as you well know, exceptionally humid here. Sorry about this, but the neck, it's got it out the box, and the neck takes about half an hour to adjust to the room conditions. It's exceptionally humid, so the wood is a dynamic thing, especially electric guitars. Okay, so just remember that if you have tuning issues, get yourself a good tuner, which I will use now, but I'm busy with this lesson, right? Now, I hope that's helped you with your bar chords. Now, while we're on bar chords, you know, you've got these top two strings from G to D there. That interval, and by the way, interval is just assigning numbers to the notes of a major scale. If you played C major, C, D, E, F, G, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Or you can play it the 3-string version, three fingers per string, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's the 9th to the 10th fret. 8, 10, 12, 8, 10, 12, 9, 10. Or 8, 10. This is like the 2-finger per string version. The C major, 8, 10, 9, 7, 8, 9. That's a major scale, but you assign numbers to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 1 and there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, the key point is G to D, those are the notes names, because you're going to learn the fretboard's notes names and make it your business to learn them. That's what they refer to as a power chord. In this case, it's a G5. There's an A5. You're only sounding the E and the A string. Likewise, you can do a D power chord. D there, and the A below it. Okay? Those chords are known as 5 chords. A5, E5, G5, F5. And, you know, when you're playing in a musical group, you use less strings, like the edge. You'll go only playing the B and the E string with sound effects and delay, and you know, dotted delay often. And Angus Young playing an A like that, barring the 3 string. With his fuzz on, and it will be a very driving sound, you know, AC/DC. Sometimes he only plays 2 strings to give that pressure. Now, 2 strings like that is a 4th, but in that case, it's an A and it's an A and an E. It's called the 4th interval. The note below the root is a fourth interval, and the one where you skip a fret on the string below is a fifth interval. So when you play less notes in a group situation, when you got a bass guitarist, you'll be focused like I did. You know, you use those sort of techniques with your guitar will stand out more if you're the lead guitarist and you're putting fills in, because your bass and all the other mid-range are covered perhaps by a keyboard or a rhythm guitarist. So just some arbitrary information as you progress. The quicker you get your strength up, once you can do it, the strength stays with you. It's like a child being able to walk. Something miraculous happens where the strength stays with you. I gave up guitar playing for, oh my gosh, more than a decade. Quite frankly, embarrassing to say, about 28 years. And that's life. But when I made a comeback, I found my fingers were sore. But I know that it goes away pretty quickly. Maybe a week to 10 days. If you get that sensation. When we were 14 years old, we used to dip our fingers in methylated spirits because we used to play like 3-4 hours a day, you know, until there was almost blood coming out of our fingers. As we were so keen as youngsters, it was, you know, the year was like 1973. It was pretty much fashionable to play a guitar, you know, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Pink Floyd, you know. Not everyone, but I was absolutely smitten with it. But you used to dip our fingers in methylated spirits because it would make your fingertips hard. I'm not encouraging you to do it, but in case your mother worries about you or your wife, then she knows what you're up to. What else can I tell you? Barre chords difficulty is overrated in my view. Even if you're a beginner, it's like everything, you know. I'm saying get into it. I took some criticism on YouTube, guy telling me, how can you teach beginners barre chords in another lesson? By the way, I've got over 1,300 videos up. A lot of them are me jamming on a loop pedal, which is like a tape recorder. I tape a few layers and a bass guitar and an electronic drum beat, and then I like to solo over it, because that's probably where you're going to head. And so I've got lots of lessons about intervals and techniques that I've learned. Primarily the theory has come from YouTube guitarists who have freely donated their time, like I am, to teach you all these things. Honestly, I've got an informal way of presentation, but there's a lot of good information in my videos. Honestly, you'll be quite astounded if you took the time to watch the content, because it's meant for people who are not wanting to get a PhD in music, but I will give you very relevant theory which draws on those sorts of people's knowledge. But it's a fantastic instrument. It really is one of the most diverse instruments. You know, you can take a note and, or you can go. You can't do that on a piano. You know, you can really express yourself on this instrument. I'm just using a clean tone, as you can hear, on this beautiful Gibson Les Paul guitar of mine. It's a year 2000 model. I was playing in a band, a garage band, within 8 months of starting to play guitar, and I definitely had to be able to play barre chords. It's one of the songs we used to play by the Beatles, Twist and Shout. Or La Bamba. Those, if you're too young to remember those songs, then don't worry about it. But you got serious tuning issues here today. But you can recognize now what the guitarist is doing. I'm doing a G, a C, and a D. That's the A shape. You can play those barre chords like that, by the way. But I find compass is much easier. And then I played with a guy when I was a teenager who played with his pinky. But he was like double jointed. He used to be able to bend it so it like almost turned like a spoon in reverse. So it's up to you what you want to do with it. I've given you some information. Hopefully you realize how simple it is. It's not complex. Just let me encourage you. You can do this. And you can get into a lot more exciting things. It's very mentally stimulating the more you get into it. It's very relaxing, strumming songs and that. And don't be put off. Once you know the chords, you learn a few. You'll learn a few sequences. You'll probably start with a 1, 4, 5. I'm referring to the chords. If you name the chords 1 to 7, from C to G as 1 to 7. 1, 4, 5 is C, F, and G, or E, A, and B. Because just think about it. If you know the intervals, C, the fourth is the note below it, which is F, or you can go count it out for yourself, as I taught you earlier. 4, 5 is the G. Okay, and you can do it anywhere. There's A to D to E, or E to A to B, and your chords are D. Come on now, baby, just a shout. Simple. I was playing some 5 chords there, but you recognize that. Thanks for viewing, and please subscribe and have a look at some of my videos, especially to the beginning of my channel, where I shared a lot of information as I was relearning guitar to solo on the guitar. I shared a huge amount of information, and I still do. I'm starting to recover a lot of the topics. So honestly, if you're serious about it, I'm pretty serious about it. You can grow with me. And have a look at myself and some of my mates. If you have a look at all my videos, you'll see practicing with some of my mates. We might look like your grandfather, but we can still rock. And if you're older than me, thanks for watching. I appreciate all your comments and your views. Have a good day. Thanks.